Hello, my friend, and welcome to the podcast. Today, we are talking about limitations and what to do when life throws you off your plan. Because most of us are really good at following through on our plan as long as nothing changes, which I don't know about you, but that's not my life. But as long as our schedule stays the same, our health is in good condition, business is predictable, all things are great. We can follow a plan like a champ. The moment that something slows down, throws us off, we get a health curveball, something happens with a family member, whatever the case is, the moment that life is off a little bit, it can throw us off. And it's difficult to get back on track when that happens because we're human, And I wanted to tell you about a story that I heard that was so impactful to me that I knew I was going to record a podcast episode about this because it truly reframes the idea of limitations. And it really made an impact on me, and I think it's going to make an impact with you. And I'll make sure in the show notes that there is a link to some YouTube videos, or at least one of them, about this story, because you need to hear it and see it, and it's so impactful. So I'll do the best I can with making, giving it justice, but definitely look this story up. It's a really impactful one, and it's about an artist. His name is Phil Hansen, and he fell in love with this type of artwork, which uses very tiny, precise dots. When you see the dots, they don't really look like anything special, but when you zoom out and there's a bunch of them, it looks like faces and landmarks, and it's remarkable. The precision of these dots is what makes this type of art work well, right? Well, as it goes, poor Phil, man, this would be a hard day. It's more than a day, but he developed a tremor in his hand due to this precise artwork that he was doing. And at first, he did what most of us would do. He fought it. He held that pen harder, and he tried to control that tremor, and he pushed harder and just did everything he could. And it didn't work. It actually probably made it worse. The tremor just got to where he could not even, there was no chance. Not only could he not do a dot, he couldn't draw a straight line. The tremor was so significant. So he went to several doctors, and the doctor said, this tremor is not going away. It's permanent nerve damage. And the doctor said something to him that inevitably changed his life, which has now had the ripple effect of changing mine, and hopefully now yours as well. And the doctor said, here's my piece of advice. You should embrace the shake. I'm certain in that moment, Phil was not in love with that. Just like I would be so frustrated, if I'm sitting at a doctor and they're just like, it's fine, just learn to live with it. I can imagine the frustration that would happen with that. But Phil did embrace the shake. And he changed his mindset about this. And I just think it's a remarkable story because instead of seeing this as something that would stop his creativity, he looked at this constraint, at this limitation as an opportunity. And he thought, how can I embrace the shake? How can I move forward with this? It opened up so many doors for him. And when you hear him tell the story, when you see his artwork now, because he is absolutely still an artist, he has such joy. He has more originality than the dots. He does things really, really cool. And he never would have ended up where he was if he didn't have this tremor. And it's just an interesting way of looking at it. And so I thought, I want us to approach limitations in a different mindset because like Phil, he developed this tremor and it became the limitation. And so often we see limitations as a bad thing. If we can't do something the same way we've done it, using the same process on the same schedule, whatever it is, we see it as a bad thing. We see that we have failed. Or we start to create a story around it. And I've done this too. I'm saying we as in the collective here. I'm in this group too. But limitations are going to happen. Business is going to slow down. We're going to have health issues come up. We're going to have grief that comes up. We're going to have caregiving responsibilities that come up throughout our life and come and go. Our energy is different at different times of the day, the week, the month, the year, the season of life. We will always have limitations. So what if we stopped looking at limitations as a bad thing and started looking at it as an opportunity to do something different, possibly even better? Now, I will give the caveat of you're allowed to be frustrated. You are allowed to have all the time that you need to deal with whatever is happening. But thinking about, how can I embrace the shake? How can I be like Phil, who I don't think walked out of that doctor's office. I don't know Phil, but I'm going to speak for him, assuming. I don't think he walked out of that doctor's office thinking, great, I'm going to embrace the shake. I'm going to create a new, artistic ability and blah, blah. I don't think it went like that. I think he took time to grieve. I think he was probably pissed. I think he was probably devastated. There were a lot of emotions. And then on the other side, he changed the mindset. So again, take the time you need. I'm not saying ignore the feelings, but embracing the shake and thinking, okay, how can I, now that I've taken time to navigate whatever's going on, how can I look at this limitation as an opportunity instead of a curse? And that's what I want us to think about. So I want you to think about, what's the shake for you? What's going on? Is your business slowing down? Are you freaking panicking about it? Because I've certainly had moments of that. You may not know that, but I have certainly sat on the other side of this desk, cried on this floor, been in my shower thinking, what am I going to do next? Because things are not doing the same. Questioning everything, right? Maybe your capacity is completely different than you thought it was going to be. And as much as you want to be there for your family member who you're going to be the caregiver for, or, support your friend, it significantly throws off your plan. You wouldn't change it for the world because you want to be a friend, a family member that shows up and supports your people or supports yourself. Maybe you have to take time for your mental health. And, that's the shake that's happening. And all of this, you wouldn't change it, but you're like, ooh, but I said I was going to do this thing. I said I was going to do this thing and now I can't do this thing because things have changed. Is that what's happening for you? Or, there's a million examples, but life throwing you off is going to happen. So in these moments, like whatever your shake is, I bet that your instinct is to add something. If you're anything like me, you probably like those moments where I'm like, okay, business isn't going well. I need to add a new offer. I need to create a new thing. I need to record more podcast episodes. I need to XYZ. Add is usually what I go to. Maybe you're like me, maybe you're not. But if you are like that, I want you to tap into the artist of Phil Hansen and think about subtraction. Because in that moment, he couldn't add more. He was creating more nerve damage for himself if he added more. He had to really think about limitation in a way of subtraction. What can I do with this constraint? And I want you to think about that and really, instead of adding, what could you take away and make things better for you? What could be taken away to reduce the mental load? Let's say you've got a lot going on and you really had some big goals this quarter. Take a look at those goals and say, what's one that could probably wait till next quarter? So that you could focus on the other things. Because you probably had too many on there anyway. Let's be honest. We love to stack the goals up. So take one away, and you're not saying you won't ever do it. You're just putting it on the shelf and waiting. Because right now you have limited capacity or whatever the case is. So thinking about limitations as an opportunity to do things in a different way. Instead of saying, well, I can't do it the same way, so I'm not going to do it at all. You say, okay, I have new constraints. I have new limitations. But what version of progress is actually possible with these constraints and limitations? What is possible? And getting creative with it and having some fun with it. And again, not saying that you can't be mad along the way or think, gosh, I wish I had more time or whatever the case is. Being okay with the feelings that come up, but also being okay with adjusting. Because the successful people that you've looked at that have businesses and life and all these things, nothing has been perfect for them. They've simply adjusted along the way. If you sat down with any successful person that has made a name for themselves in any way, they would tell you about the failures. I hope they would anyway. Any good coach, mentor, anyone who is encouraging others to do something in a positive way, they're going to say, look, it wasn't easy for me either. I ran into this too. And here's what I did. And they adjusted. They didn't just throw their hands up in the air. And so let's embrace the shake. Let's embrace the shake and figure out how to utilize limitations as an opportunity. And so your accountable action for this week is to name that constraint. Be honest with no judgment. Do you have less time? Do you have less energy? You have a health issue coming up for you or someone that you care about. Are your finances an issue right now? What if you don't have the knowledge or the skills to do the thing you really want to do? What are your limitations? And then I want you to ask yourself, how can I embrace the shake instead of fighting it? How can I stop holding that pin so dang hard? How can I use this as an opportunity to do something different? How can I subtract something out instead of adding it back in? And really doing myself a service of doing things differently, because it's not going to be comfortable either way. It's not going to be comfortable right now if you just force it and just try and act like everything's the same. And it's not going to be comfortable to make a change. Both things are hard, and we choose our hard. And I hope that the hard that you choose is to make a change that will make it better in the long run. To allow yourself progress and peace at the same time. Because if you can subtract something out and see limitations as an opportunity, you can experience peace and progress instead of being pissed off that your life isn't the same as it was 10 days ago, 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago. Really embracing that shake. So a shout out to Phil. I don't know Phil, but maybe one day I will. But I was so inspired by his story, and I hope you will take this and be inspired to do things different in your life as well, because I know that you can embrace the shake. I know you can do that, and I know you can see limitations in a different way. So embrace the shake in your life, whatever that means for you. And until next time, my friend.